native languages spoken in eastern Congo, before 1996, none of them had a word for rape.
The war began in 1996. This was the beginning of the Congolese tragedy, the real beginning of the Congolese tragedy. When the war started in 1996, it was not because of minerals. The war started in 1996, it was because of the collapse of the Zairian state and the genocide in neighboring Rwanda. But once the war had begun, minerals eventually became to play a key role in financing that war. And then at some point, the minerals became an objective in themselves.
After the Rwandan genocide in 1994, 3 million refugees poured over the border into what was then Eastern Zaire, creating what the UN called the worst refugee crisis the world has ever known. Some of those refugees were the same militiamen who carried out the genocide. This posed a great security threat for the newly formed government of Rwanda.
In the case of Rwanda, it was an overriding security issue. You had 30 or 40,000 militiamen and soldiers, doing military training within a stone's throw of the Rwandan border, saying we're going to go back and finish the job.
The Rwandans told us on more than one occasion that if the international community could not handle this problem, they felt compelled to find solutions. I had suspected that if they were going to take action, it was going to be an overt military movement across the border, but instead they used a covert or clandestine mechanism to do that. They infiltrated Rwandan troops over there, joined up with some local rebels, and that was Kabila and the AFDL.
In 1996, the Rwandan and Ugandan armies, backing the rebel movement, the AFDL, fronted by Congolese bushman Laurent Désiré Kabila, invaded eastern Congo. The Rwandan and Ugandan objectives were to clear out the refugee camps. Laurent Kabila's objective was to overthrow President Mobutu Sese Seko. Bizima Karaha was the AFDL's foreign minister.
For us Africans, this was the first time we see genocide. That culture had to be eliminated. But there was a second problem. The second problem was that Mobutu was number 2 dictator in the world. He had to be removed. All what I told him, you go through the door or through the window.
After 30 years, the United States made the decision to abandon their Cold War ally, Mobutu Sese Seko. President Clinton sent a UN ambassador, Bill Richardson, to deliver the message to Mobutu.
And my instructions were from the U.S. government to say to President Mobutu, we can't support you anymore. We want you to leave the country. And I remember Mobutu looking at me and saying, you know how much I've supported the United States. And I said, I understand that.
The United States and much of the world community is increasingly seeing a new breed of African leaders. The dominant vision and narrative was going to be, from that point onward, to support Kabila and to make it happen.
I had several meetings with Kabila, and I knew Kabila liked me. We had a little bit of chemistry. I said to him, well, you want a good relationship with the United States? We want a peaceful resolution. We'd like to be able to help you if you're a reformer, if you practice democracy, if you observe human rights. We'll help you.
Once the war was over, Mobutu was no longer necessary, and the United States allowed Congo to disintegrate.
Although the AFDL moved very quickly, it soon became clear that they would need significant financing to take the capital city, Kinshasa.
Kabila, I recall, said, can you give me a $100 million loan from Clinton? Right then I knew he didn't understand the policy process.
One of the things the AFDL were trying to do was round up money. And in the Congo, one of the ways you do that is through giving out minerals concessions.
In an effort to finance the war, the AFDL headed directly to the copper and cobalt-rich region of Katanga.
It started in the Kivus, but Katanga was then and has always been a key part of the Congolese conflict simply because of this is where the money lies.
The real mineral wealth of the Congo is in Katanga.
This is where the big money is made.
Katanga is home to one of the world's largest copper belts and produces over 80% of the world's cobalt, both strategic minerals.
The Department of Defense's Defense Logistics Agency, which has a strategic minerals division, ranks cobalt in the top 10.
So many people came here to make a quick buck during the war. And they did.
While the troops of rebel leader Laurent Kabila now control the mineral-rich areas of the country, giants like American Mining Field Corporation are taking advantage of the shifting political scene to swap their allegiances. Mining deals in cobalt, zinc, copper and diamonds are being signed with the rebels.
Non, il y en a eu beaucoup. Il y a eu Amphibies qui est arrivé, il y a le groupe Lundin qui est arrivé, il y a Anvil Mining, ce sont les Australiens qui sont arrivés, et nous avions un groupe canadien qui est arrivé aussi, First Quantum.
On était en guerre et tous les marchands d'armes en ont profité pour venir prendre des minéraux, mais c'était à vil prix.
So 1996 was a moment for, cowboys to come out of the woodwork, and there was a fortune to be made in the Congo, and they congregated, they flocked to the Congo.
Executives from American mineral fields are busy currying favor with the new regime in any way they can.
I think the most classic example was Jean-Raymond Boule, who worked for a company called American Mineral Fields. And he flew with his private jet down to Katanga. He actually lent his private jet to Kabila at a certain point and struck a deal nailing down a very important mining concession there.
We have made our plane available to certain leaders of the alliance.
They gave $5 million to the AFDL before they even arrived in Kinshasa. They gave $5 million to the AFDL, I believe it was in April of 1997, 1 month before they arrived in Kinshasa. They were doing business with a rebel government, where they hadn't even taken over the official government yet.